Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've got a lot of breaking updates today. So the first news is coming from Grozny, the capital city of Czechia in the Russian Federation. So we've got news that the petrol station in Grozny, the capital city of Czechia, has exploded. So this explosion ended up killing 4, including 2 children. So the gas station in Grozny was completely destroyed by an explosion, damaging nearby buildings, as shown in a video from the Russian Emergency Ministry. Over 30 rescuers and 7 pieces of equipment have been deployed to the scene to manage the aftermath. So the regional office of the Investigate Committee has announced that a criminal case will be initiated regarding the incident. The fire has been extinguished, but the explosion claimed the lives of 4 people, including 2 children. So you can see here in your bottom left corner, we can see all these videos of the explosion of the petrol station in Grozny. So very sad news, and as a result of this explosion, 4 people, including 2 children, have lost their lives. Now let's head to Moscow and some political updates coming from Russia. So India has become the second largest supplier of dual-use technologies to Russia, including microchips, electronic circuits and machinery, with China being the only country ahead. The export of such goods directly to Russia is prohibited due to sanctions, as they are used in the production of weapons, but India has become the second largest supplier of dual-use technologies to Russia. So, very big news. And we've also gotten some statements coming from the Russian Foreign Ministry. So, the Russian Foreign Ministry announced that the BRICS association has never been and does not intend to become a military alliance, according to a statement by the Russian Foreign Ministry. So, very interesting news. And now let's turn our heads to St. Petersburg, where we've got news coming from the Russian Navy. So today, the Project 636.3 diesel-electric submarine Yakusk was launched. So you can see here in the bottom left corner, this is Russia's new diesel-electric submarine that was just launched a couple of days ago. So the name of the submarine is Yakusk, after the Russian Siberian city, and it will join the Pacific Fleet. This is the 12th submarine in the series. Its length is about 73.8 meters, and its underwater displacement is 3,950 tons. The armaments in this submarine consists of 6 533mm torpedo tubes, through which cruise missiles of the caliber PL complex are launched, among other things. So, very interesting news. So this Yakusk submarine is just doing some tests right now, so it can be accepted in the official Russian Navy and be sent to the Pacific Fleet in Siberia. So very big news. Now let's head to Ukraine, where we've got news that France is to transfer 12 to 20 Mirage 2000 fighter jets to Ukraine next year. So in 2025, we can expect France to transfer 12 to 20 Mirage 2000 5F fighter jets to Ukraine from France. We've also gotten some news coming from President Zelensky of Ukraine. So he stated in his evening speech that we see an increasing alliance between Russia and the regimes like North Korea. This is no longer just about transferring weapons, it is actually about transferring people from North Korea to the occupying military forces, stated Zelensky. He also said that obviously in such circumstances our relations with our partners need to be developed. The front line needs more support. When we talk about more range for Ukraine and more decisive supplies for our forces, it's not just a list of military equipment, it is about increasing pressure on the aggressor, which will be stronger and they can withstand. So very interesting statements from Zelensky, and obviously in that speech he mentioned the North Korean military actually operating in the battlefield in Ukraine. Probably not in the battlefield, but actually the North Korean military is apparently in Ukraine. So according to the Washington Post, North Korea forces are backing Russia inside Ukraine, officials say. So Kim Jong-un has pledged full support for Russia's Putin in his fight against Ukraine. South Korea and Ukraine say that he is now doing that by sending military personnel to Ukraine. So this was stated by the Washington Post, if you can see here in the bottom left corner. So very big news. We've also got some news coming from the former president of Ukraine, Poroshenko. So he stated that Putin is more likely to win Ukraine elections than Zelensky. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, here it is.
І на виборах Зеленський не переможе. До речі, в цих умовах і Порошенко не переможе. І Залужний не переможе. На виборах переможе Путін.
So very interesting statements coming from the ex-president of Ukraine. And now let's head to Poland, where we've got news and some statements coming from the Polish general of Rajmud. I'll put his name here in your screen because Polish names are pretty hard to pronounce, I'll be honest. But he says that if Russia attacks even an inch of Lithuanian territory, the response will come immediately, not on the first day, but in the first minutes. We will hit all strategic targets within a 300-kilometer radius, and we will attack St. Petersburg directly. So that was stated by the Polish general. So very big news. We've also gotten some more news coming from Poland that the Polish Prime Minister says that he will temporarily suspend asylum rights, stated Donald Tusk. So Donald Tusk, the Polish Prime Minister, stated that it would be a part of his new migration strategy. He said that I will demand that this decision be recognized in Europe. So he stressed that the Civic Coalition Party conference that the state must regain full control of who enters Poland and the European Union. He said that we will reduce the illegal migration to Poland to a minimum. So very interesting news coming from Poland. And now let's head to Germany, and we talked a little bit about this in yesterday's video, how Zelensky was doing his European tour. So he went from Britain, France to Italy to the Vatican City. Now he's arrived in Rome. So during his meeting with the German Chancellor, during Zelensky's meeting with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, President Zelensky presented his plan for victory. He expressed gratitude for Germany's support thus far and emphasized the importance of their continued assistance in establishing a just peace. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, this is President Zelensky meeting the Chancellor of Germany, and they discussed many things and peace and even a new military aid package. So the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has announced 600 million euros in military aid for Ukraine that focuses on air defense systems, and the German Chancellor also revealed that together with its partners, Germany will provide Ukraine with a military aid package worth approximately 1.4 billion euros by the end of the year. With their partners. We've also gotten some statements coming from the German Foreign Minister. So the German Foreign Minister stated that the Kremlin leader Putin is not ready for talks with the German Chancellor regarding a peaceful resolution to the war in Ukraine, stated the German Foreign Minister. She also emphasized that Ukraine is ready for a just peace. And the last news coming today is coming from the German coast of Mecklenburg in the Baltic Sea. So we can see here in the bottom left corner, we can see a German oil tanker, Annika, so that was the German oil tanker's name, on fire in the Baltic Sea. So a fire broke out this morning off the coast of Mecklenburg, this region here, so on the coast of Germany. So 7 sailors have been rescued and taken to shore. There are unconfirmed reports of casualties. So it's still not known how this actually fire took place or how anything here actually happened, but very interesting news, and I'll keep you updated if there's any news that come out as a result of that fire, or who did it, or who was responsible. Now let's head to Slovakia, where we've got news that the Slovak Foreign Minister stated that Slovakia is to expand a base for repairing Ukrainian military vehicles in this Slovak town here. So he noted that this would be joint work with Germany, which would finance the vehicle repair, and Slovakia would provide the premises of the location to repair Ukrainian military. And 2, it's very close to the Ukrainian-Slovak border. So very interesting news. So Slovakia might be repairing Ukrainian military vehicles in the future very soon. Now let's head to Serbia, where we've got news that Serbia sees joining BRICS as an alternative to joining the EU, the Deputy Prime Minister of Serbia said in an interview. So, very big news. Now let's head to Spain, where we've got news that Spain held a military parade on Columbus Day. So, at the Columbus Day military parade in Madrid, UN flags were seen for those troops deployed in different parts of the globe, especially those in southern Lebanon. So a lot of countries actually attended this Columbus Day military parade. So the Slovak armed forces participated, and a lot of NATO nations did also. So Slovakian, the Czech, the Portuguese. There was reports of civilian forces being there, so very interesting news. We've also got news that due to the weather conditions, the show and the parachute jump could not take place during the parade. Now let's head to Algeria, where we've got news that Algeria is sharply increasing its wheat imports from Russia and refusing supplies from France, Reuters, the news agency, stated. So by the end of autumn, Russian grain supplies could reach an impressive 3 million tons. So this decision was the result of the worsening tensions and relations between Algeria and France after the president of France, Macron, recognized Morocco's sovereignty over the Western Sahara border dispute, whose independence Algeria insists on. So very interesting news. And now let's head to the Central African country of Chad, where we got news that about 1.9 million people have been impacted by floods in Chad, as well as all 23 provinces in Chad have been hit. So all of Chad's 23 provinces have been impacted by intense floods brought on by severe rainfall. So over 550 people have died in this huge severe floodings, and 210,000 homes had been washed away. So around 432,000 hectares of land and 72,000 livestock was destroyed. So of the approximately 1.9 million people affected in the country, the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, says that 85,000 women are estimated to be pregnant as a result of the 1.9 million people impacted by the floods in Chad. So very, very sad news. Now let's head to Kenya, where we've got news that Kenya's first nuclear power plant faces opposition from coastal residents. So an area has been set aside in Kenya's southern country of Kafil, so this area right here, for the construction of the country's first nuclear facility. The project on the coast of the Indian Ocean is expected to be operational by 2034, but it has faced severe opposition on Friday, the October the 11th. But the construction of the nuclear power plant has faced severe opposition from locals in the area. So, with an estimated budget of 500 billion Kenyan shillings, about $3.9 billion are going to be put into this nuclear power plant, the construction of the nuclear power plant. So the plant is expected to generate 1,000 megawatts of power and is a part of Kenya's long-term strategy to reduce its reliance on fossil fuel energy sources. And now let's head to Somalia, where we've got news that Somalia says that Egypt has offered to deploy peacekeeping troops to the Horn of Africa country as a part of a security partnership that is taking shape as the mandate of the long-standing African Union peacekeeping force comes to an end. So Somalia says Egypt has offered to deploy peacekeeping troops to the Horn of Africa. So I'll keep you updated if Egypt actually sends troops. And the next news is coming from Israel, where we've got news that the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has just ordered the Irish, the Italian and the Ghanaian peacekeepers to relocate 5 kilometers north as part of plans for a large-scale attack on Lebanon's border. However, Ireland has firmly refused to abandon their peacekeeping positions, standing firm in their commitment to maintaining peace in the region. So we've got news that Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered, if you can see here in the bottom left corner, has ordered the Italian, the Irish and the Ghanaian peacekeepers to withdraw. So but the Irish keepers have refused. So I'll keep you updated if anything happens there. We've also gotten some news of a kamikaze UAV strike on an Israeli military base, well, an Israeli training base. So we've gotten some breaking news that a Hezbollah kamikaze UAV strike reportedly targets IDF base in Haifa, this Israeli city here. So, according to the Israeli army spokesman has urged Israelis not to share information about casualties after confirming that at least 4 soldiers were killed and 7 were wounded in the recent attack. The spokesman requested that settlers refrain from publishing details about the wounded and the deceased. So Hezbollah launched a squadron of drone strikes on the Israeli Golani Brigade training camp. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, we can see all the ambulances coming up. But according to the Jerusalem Post reports 3 dead and 67 injured, including 4 in critical condition as a result of this Hezbollah drone attack. So Israel has already vowed to retaliate to the strike, and we'll probably see that very, very soon. We've also gotten some videos coming from the Israeli and Lebanese border of the Israeli forces displaying captured Hezbollah weapons belonging to Hezbollah in the south of the country. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner, this video, we can see all of these weapons that were captured from Lebanon, well, from Hezbollah. And now let's head to the capital city of Lebanon, where we got news that the Iranian parliamentary speaker defied all threats from Israel and a landing ban in the capital city of Beirut by personally flying a plane into the city and landing it. So the Iranian parliamentary speaker actually flew a plane despite the Israeli threats of actually shooting down Iranian planes that land in Beirut. So he personally flew a plane and landed it in the capital city in Beirut despite all threats and the landing ban from Israel. So you can see here in the bottom left corner, we can actually see him flying and landing the plane. And when he landed, he stated that he was invited by the Lebanese parliament speaker, and he reaffirmed Iran's backing for the resistance against Israel. We've also gotten some news coming from Islamic Republic of Iran's foreign minister that the Iran's foreign minister announced that the Islamic Republic is prepared for an Israeli response to the missile attack that Tehran launched last week. We will assess how the attack unfolds, and based on that, we will carefully determine the nature of our response, stated the Iranian foreign minister. And now let's head to India, where we've got news that 2 trains collided in the Tamil Nadu state in India. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, at least 19 people were injured after a passenger train collided with a sanctuary goods train in Tamil Nadu state of India, officials reported. And now let's head to probably one of the biggest news coming today, which is that China has just announced the start of military exercises and maneuvers around the island of Taiwan. This is one of the largest maneuvers carried out by China, and it's called Joint Sword 2024B. So it is a test of joint operational capabilities of the forces, stated Chinese officials and Chinese military officials. So China has just started its military exercises, and it's called Joint Sword 2024B. So very interesting news, and I'll keep you updated on that. And we've also gotten some polls and statistics coming from the island of Taiwan. So majority of Taiwanese believe that China is unlikely to invade within 5 years, polls find. So a recent poll from by Taiwan's top military think tank reveals that most Taiwanese people believe that China is unlikely to invade the island in the next 5 years, despite viewing Beijing as a significant threat. So very big news. And now let's go into more concerning news, and the news is coming from the Korean Peninsula. So we got news that the North Korean state media reports that South Korean drones have flown into the North Korean capital of Pyongyang over the past hours and dropped anti-communist leaflets for the local population. So North Korea says there's going to be a very harsh retaliation to this South Korean drone dropping leaflets on the capital of Pyongyang. But the South Korean military has already refused and denied that this was their drone. And if you remember in last video, we talked about how North Korea has set all of its offensive weapons on high alert. So it seems that tensions in the Korean Peninsula are getting worse. South Korea warned North Korea on Sunday that it will see the end of its regime if it causes any harm to its people, after the North Korean threatened a horrible disaster over the alleged flight of drones over its capital. We've also got news that, according to the South Korean intelligence, unusual movement has been observed by North Korean on the North Korean side of the border, reportedly involving large-scale deployment of troops and the arrival of military equipment that includes explosives. So, very big news, and tensions continue to rise in the Korean Peninsula, and I'll keep you updated on it. And the last news are coming from America, where we've got news that dozens of people are actively looting and breaking into cargo trains. So at this time, there is an estimate of 50 to 150 people or more who are actively looting and breaking into cargo trains on the west side of Chicago. So police have been dispatched to the scene to address the ongoing incident, with reports of individuals stealing boxes of items, possibly including TVs, from the train's containers. So the witnesses described the situation as chaotic, with the looters working quickly to empty the cargo. So very interesting news. We've also gotten some videos that Obama says black men are not enthusiastic enough about Kamala Harris. And we've got news that former President Donald Trump has requested for military aircrafts amid Iranian threat may be granted if suitable, Joe Biden stated. So the President Joe Biden said that former President Donald Trump request to use military aircraft for transportation may be approved if deemed appropriate. So earlier, the Washington Post reported that Donald Trump, so the Trump campaign, requested military aircraft for transportation in the final weeks of the campaign. The Trump team has also asked the US government to expand flight restrictions over his residency and rallies and provide military vehicles due to an alleged threat from Iran, the report added. And now let's head to SpaceX, where we've got news that SpaceX have actually managed to land the first stage of the Starship rocket Super Heavy on the launch pad for the first time in history. So if you can see this footage here in your bottom left corner, we can actually see the SpaceX Super Heavy rocket actually land on the launch pad for the first time in history. So very big news. And that's all the news I actually have for you today. I am Non-Scene News. I'm trying to provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.